Today we're reviewing the Nike KD16. Check it out.
Danger, 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 wanna stop in the beam.
Welcome back to our channel, guys. As you can see, we got a fun one. We're checking out another signature line. We got the KD16, the newest addition to his shoe line with Nike. And we're going to be breaking down all the performance aspects. We'll be looking at how comfortable they are, how the cushion plays, the traction, or how the cushion, we said that twice, the traction support, basically all those aspects. And we'll stamp it with the letter grade. That'll come at the end of the video. But before I get into breaking these down, you know, I always like to cover just some of the basic info, the general stuff like that. In order to get them in, we got to cover the retail price. These are retailing for $150, and that is the same as last year's KD15 model, I want to say. And I actually have the KD15s right back here. I want to kind of bring them front and center for a second because the price is similar. And whenever I saw the KD16, like the leaked images dropped a few months ago, and I was checking them out, I was like, oh, the KD16, that's a cool looking model. Like it looks a little bit different. Not really. I mean, side by side, these have the same structure. That's a T, that's the same to a T, but you got the same kind of like designs going on, the same similar look between these two models. And I only bring that up because I started playing in KD's line. I think I officially, I'll go ahead and get these out of here now. I officially started playing in them in like the KD13. Like before then, I just like been a fan of some of his other shoes because you can see I even got the 14 amp pearls back here. I got some more amp pearl KDs. Like he is so One thing about KD's line is I think he has so many cool and just unique colorways and just like looks and setups to his shoe. One of my favorites is this one right here. This plaid just polka dot setup to this KD. Oh my gosh, it's a beautiful shoe. He's got a lot of cool different designs. I'm a big fan of KD's line. This year though, they didn't switch up too much between the 16 and the 15s. It's not really a big deal, but that's just something that I noticed. It is kind of more of a low profile shoe though. Like the 14s, they started off with those being a little bit higher. What was it? The 12s, I want to say the 12s and the 11s were, you know, maybe a little bit more low before that. But recently he's been going back to the low top shoes. I'm a fan of it. I'm big into low top shoes, but now we'll scratch all the extra details, all the fluff and stuff like that. We'll start talking about how this model plays. And the first thing I want to bring up to you is the actual cushioning setup. And honestly, Nike doesn't do this for a lot of their signature athletes. Like I review now at this point, like I wasn't hitting them back then, but now I'm basically reviewing all the signature lines across most brands. For Nikes, they set up like the verbiage of his of the cushioning in the shoe, kind of funny to me. So it says that the KD16 has a lightweight Nike Air unit at the bottom of the upper that gives KD the cushioning and the comfort that he needs to thrive during a long season. So I thought it was kind of funny how they phrased that. They even took it a step further in the next one. It says KD loved the 15's underfoot experience. So we took the inspiration from the previous iteration and added it to the bottom loaded 4-foot unit. I'm trying to read this 4-foot Zoom Air unit for extra pop and snappiness whenever he's at high speed, something like that. You also have like a responsive, like full length foam, I guess, is kind of worked in there as well. But I think it's funny how they used KD specifically. Like KD liked this feel. He wanted to add this from last year. And I feel like that's how most of these signature lines do it. But at the same time, it's more supposed to be for the user experience a little bit. Maybe I'm just getting caught up in the semantics, but the cushioning feel, leaving all that other stuff alone, honestly, I think it's an improvement. Like I do feel at least like the underfoot, like padding, it's just a little bit softer. Like I didn't need as much break-in time on the KD16s compared to the 15s. And the 15s, like I said, just a little bit more responsive under your foot. A lot of times guards tend to like that. Also, it was like more front loaded. Like the KD15, it wasn't much, but you had a little bit more like balance or just like some spring up in the forefoot. The KD16 is more so going to be balanced. I'm kind of more of a fan of the front loaded setup, but only whenever it's soft enough. And I actually do kind of prefer the KD16 from like a comfort standpoint whenever you're going to compare it, especially to the 15s. But now we'll go ahead and move on a little bit more to like the make of the model. And you have this multi-layer like mesh feel to the upper. One thing that was weird to me is like this little string right here. It's just like a little reflective band that just kind of wraps around the shoe. It's not a big deal, except that whenever I'm on the court, like walking around, I noticed it. Like I can see it out of my peripheral vision, just like my shoes kind of lighten up a little bit and underneath like certain lighting. So I thought that was kind of a weird addition to have a reflective piece. Like that's the word I was looking for, like a reflective piece that was like basically on the shoe. It's not like a big deal or anything like that. I just noticed that as far as the materials go. And whenever you're looking at the weight, even with this being a super low top shoe, it's still pretty average at 428 grams. And that is for a size 10.5. The KD15 last year, like I said, they look similar. They feel similar. the weight is similar. They're 424 grams last year, so basically right there. But I will say that one thing about the KD 15s, 14s, really everything I've played in, it has been super layered. Like I said, they have this multi-layer mesh upper. The side-to-side durability has been super nice. You haven't had to worry about like your foot like sliding out of the shoe if you're doing hard step backs, hard cuts like that. So I'm a big fan of that. But at the same time, the KD 15 was dealing more with like some heel slippage. They had more a little bit more trouble keeping you locked down on the backside. The KD 16, I gotta say, did kind of fix that for the most part. Like, you got better heel containment this year, but you do want to still keep it tight. So whenever I was playing in these, my left shoe, you know, I was thinking about it, like, make sure you tie it tight. Must have gotten lazy tying my right shoe because it felt like I was a little bit looser just because I didn't tie it as tight. So that, I'm just saying that to kind of put that in your brain to be thinking about it, because KD's line, the 14s, I mean, even I gave the 15s some screen time. The 14s, these are like a little bit higher. Your foot's just a little bit more wrapped. Plus you had this, this was a sweet shoe. The Ant Pearl, I loved the strap. I'm a big fan of straps on basketball shoes, so I always tend to like that. But the KD 14 was just a more supportive model than the 15. You had better lockdown. Honestly, I think that they did fix that at least a little bit on the 16s, because I didn't notice it whenever I had it laced the way that it was supposed to. So that brings us to the traction. And honestly, that's another spot that I feel like the KD 16 is a little bit better this year. Like, the 15s weren't bad. They had a little bit of that sticky feel, but it was kind of inconsistent. The pattern is interesting. The pattern's just like a bunch of like circles with some, kind of looks like the sun. He plays for the Suns. It kind of looks like the sun. He's got some different designs on there. It's also a little bit shinier. Honestly, this, I will say, this model is stickier. Like, they make a lot more sound on the court, especially than the 15s did last year. So you do have some of that sticky feel, and I feel like, just to kind of, we're starting to wrap this up now, this would be like an outdoor model, or a really good outdoor model if you plan on keeping it out there. Like, this is like a stickier shoe. You can even kind of see it like just even on the screen, and I've played these multiple times already. It's a stickier shoe. With that being said, you go outdoors, that sticky like adhesive feel, it'll wear off pretty quick, but the actual like durability of the shoe and the overall feel of it, really nice outdoor model. Plus it was a nice indoor model. So that kind of brings us to the sizing. And no, the sizing is going to be slightly slightly narrow compared to like the KD 15 or 14. The 15s and the 4s. All right, now I'm just throwing numbers out there. Slightly narrow compared to the 14s. Like, the 15s and the 16s both kind of squeeze you a little bit. It's not too bad, but you can notice KD, I think KD, they really cater this to KD himself, because he's got to have a skinnier foot too. He's got 7 foot and not a lot of muscle out there, but I know he's working at it, and who am I to talk anyways. But as far as like the actual feel, it does kind of squeeze your foot. I just want to put that out there. The width is fine though, or the length is fine. You got like half a thumb's width left over, so nothing really to worry about there. But as far as the overall grade for the KD 16, I'm going to have to stamp it with a B+, and that's up from a B last year. I mean, there were minor improvements to every category across this shoe, and I was a big fan of that. Like, if I was gonna like find a way for it to get up to an A-, A+, something like that, you'd maybe want to see a little bit more help come to the backside for the support. And the cushion's good. It's not great, but I honestly do like it better than the KD 15s whenever it comes to like just the comfortability. It's a long word to be thrown in at the end of the shoe review, because we're at the end of the shoe review anyways. But I mean, it's a really comfortable shoe. I think it, like I said, took less break-in time. All around, it seems like it's going to be solid. It's not heavy, but it's not super light. It's like an above average basketball shoe. Whenever you're talking about $150, I feel like that's going to make it worth it, especially in my opinion. And I like the way KD plays. I like the way his shoes play too. So honestly, go out and get you a pair for $150. I'm a big fan. If you want to buy them, we'll leave a link here on screen, or of course, we'll just leave a link in the bio or down below, so you can feel free to check that out. But that's going to wrap up this shoe review. Thank you guys for taking some time to watch. Till next time, I'm Lance from Shoewear. Peace.